As you can see, it's raining. Howdy. Well, the frog is jumping forward. I don't know where it's going to take me, but the frog is jumping forward. What does that mean? It means I'm going to solve the problem in front of this and solve problems in front of that, yada, 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 yada. So there's going to be some problem solving in the next couple of days. Let's see what happens. So just to give you a quick update, made a phone call to Bob Bowen Ford in Brazil. They did not have space in any way, shape, or form, but the service manager took pity on me, and he's decided to squeeze me in. Now I'm sitting here waiting for a tow that the guy, I just spoke to him, he says he's on his way, but you know how that goes. So I'll let you know what happens when I get to Bob Bowen Ford. They're really pretty much not gonna get to me until probably tomorrow. But I'll be damned. I'll be damned. There's Jerry right now. Made it to Bob Bowen Ford. Jerry dropped me off, and here he is at Bob Bowen Ford. I do want to tell you about Jerry, though, because he's got a... I'll just let Jerry explain it. Much simpler. So, this is Jerry. There's a lot of J's in this story. I don't know why, but there's a lot of J's in this story.
He had a truck built while he was in California, and they brought it and their stuff back, and he started Steve's Wrecker Service. And about 95, he bought a new rollback and a new wrecker, and he needed them lettered. Well, I'd been a operating engineer. I ran forklifts, cranes, any kind of heavy equipment. And I'd worked for a company, and they'd split 3 different ways, and it was miserable. So I still do hand lettering and pinstriping. So my wife said, why don't you just do that for a while, I was concerned, like you always are when you're going to have an endeavor that, you're not sure how it's going to work out.
Yep.
But it worked out pretty well.
Let's put food on the table.
Yep, that's the biggie right there. You got a roof over your head, you got food on the table, all's good, you got your help. So Steve bought these trucks and he was needing them lettered. So he calls me and he wants me to come up to his place there and letter the truck. So I did. And then he added another one not long after that, an older, bigger, like a semi-road. And he said, man, we used to work together for my dad back in the 70s. And then he went off to work for Roadway, and I went off and did my own thing. So I said, okay, I'll come up, I'll help you out. And then 13 years later, I bought the wrecker service from him. And then I've had it for 13 years. So, but, I enjoy it. It's getting to meet a lot of interesting people like yourself.
So that's a little bit about Jerry. All right, I will pick you up when I know more about exactly what's going wrong with my van. Howdy. Well, that's Bob Bowen Ford behind me, and clearly I'm not on the road because that is still here. Why is it still here? Let me explain. The power steering pump did not fail, but they replaced it anyways. But as expected, I kind of sort of figured that there was a blockage in the line. This is something that Jeremy had thought of about 3 days ago, but there was no way to test it. Well, they tested it in like 10 seconds here, and sure enough, it's clogged. And what's it clogged with? Say it with me, metal filings. And you're gonna ask where the metal filings coming from. The metal filings are coming from the rack and pinion. So basically the rack and pinion has basically been cycling metal, and it's going right into the return line, and it basically means I can't drive anywhere. However, Bob Bowen Ford has basically allowed me to stay in their parking lot tonight, so I don't have to worry about that.
And there was much rejoicing.
And I'm basically not going to go anywhere between now and when all the parts arrive, and then they do the install. But they're doing the whole 9 yards because they've been made aware of the situation, and they know what my plan is, and they're like, yeah, you need to. There are no two ways about this, Miles. You absolutely have to do this. Because if we were just to replace the pump and the high pressure return line, about 3 weeks from now, I'd probably be stuck on the road somewhere. Whoever next in line, they'd have to end up doing this work all over again because the rack and pinion has to get replaced. So the rack and pinion is about $600. The pump is another $300. The return line is another $300. Yeah. So parts minus the labor we're looking at about 14. He quoted me about $13.50 a little while ago. They'll try to do a little bit better in the morning and try to source some other parts. The rack and pinion is the pricey part, but it's an absolute requirement. We'll see whether or not we can get that down to something reasonable. But even then, it's money I don't have. So basically, I'm not going anywhere tomorrow or until the parts show up. But at least I now know what is wrong with it, and there is a fix online. It's coming, so that I can get back on the road and go do the thing that I wanted to go do. It's been a long day. But at least I now know exactly what's wrong and that there's a fix in line. Just a couple of notes, and then I'll be on my merry way, and you can go back to your life. One is... obviously, I'm a little poor right now, and that's so that we're clear about this. Even if I had enough money to cover this, which I don't, I'd still, not have enough money to get out the door on the road. So keep that thought in the back of your mind. Two is I want to speak to the Larry piece. When Larry and I did the review of the van's deficiencies, Larry looked at the rack and pinion and he said, "There's nothing wrong with this." A lot has changed since then. So more than likely, the moment that I drove it after the pump failed the first time, that's when the problem cropped up, and driving it from Missouri to here created the problem, where I'm having to replace the rack and pinion and the return line. So it's not Larry's fault. It's not my fault. We just didn't know about it. It's been a long day. That is all the news that is fit to print. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you very much for your donations. Without them, I couldn't be here. So I'm keenly aware of that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I look forward to seeing you somewhere on the road. Bye.